The video is intended for people that perhaps this is your first time in a Total War game. You have no idea where to begin. Well, this is the video that you must watch. I will use Shogun 2 as an example, either if you are a seasoned veteran of Total War or a newcomer to Total War world. What is going to be discussed here? Let me explain how to begin your campaign, where to begin, what buttons do what, diplomatic, economic and clan panels, agents, and a quick view on tactical battles. But be warned, at the end of the video you also get a very nice understanding of a couple of historical stuff that perhaps you overlooked since 2011. This is Victor's Shogun 2 tutorial. Welcome in. Before starting, I want to give my personal opinion on the title. All of my campaigns on the three eras of the wargame have been a complete blast, and I have enjoyed each and every moment through them. Shogun 2 is definitely one of the most iconic and beautiful wargames ever devised by Creative Assembly. Now, let's go on. The first recommendation that I'm going to do is investigate the map of the title in question, either by watching a map in Google Earth or finding one on the wikis of the internet. What do you do when start? Well, the main objective is to create your own story based on historical events that have to do with the era of your choice. This is achieved by two main aspects of a Total War wargame. The strategic aspect, which encompasses every decision made on a grand scale, involves diplomacy and wealth, and the tactical aspect, which is every decision made on the battlefield, involves manpower and maneuvers. For these, you'll have to ask two main questions: when and where. And the progression factor is going to be determined by time. For Shogun 2 and Rise of the Samurai, each turn passes 3 months, in contrast with Fall of the Samurai, which each turn passes 2 weeks. Let's go right to the point. Wealth, the aspect of strategy. This button here, the Chinese calculator or the Sunpan, is where you manage your economy. Here you control how much you want to squeeze your peasants, what are your exports or imports in your provinces, who is participating in this activity, and the summary of income and expenses, if you happen to be interested in knowing what is exactly destroying your wallet. In a historical note, the Sunpan is an abacus of Chinese origin. The earliest use of the abacus is dated as early of the 2nd century BCE, during the Han Dynasty. It was introduced to the neighboring countries in the 16th century. The tool's main difference in comparison with the Roman abacus is that the Sunpan is still used in some parts of China in the 21st century, whilst the Roman abacus is now obsolete, replaced by our phone calculators. In an additional note, the knowledge and practice of the arithmetic calculation through the Sunpan tool is called the Shuzuan. The art of Shuzuan is considered a cultural symbol and a practical tool. The instance found in Shogun 2 is the Japanese version called the Soroban, which is also used today. The Soroban and the Sunpan coexist in Japan, however, the Chinese version fell out of use during the Meiji era. At this point, I would like to suggest to all of you to press the subscribe button. It will definitely help the channel reach the 1000 mark that will allow us to continue expanding this community. If history, strategy and tactics, mods and Total War is your cup of tea, you have reached the best place to enjoy those topics. Also, give a like and comment anything that you want, even if you disagree. Returning to the tutorial. The flow of wealth is a relation of trade, civic, military and diplomatic treaties, where tax comes from civic, looting and raiding from the military, and vassal tribute from the diplomacy. The encyclopedia fails to explain Where can you know the season in which you are in? There's two ways to do that, either visually or in the Summary tab, listed in the Current Turn and Last Turn section. It is more detailed on Fall of the Samurai, where each turn represents half a month. Here it will tell you if it is late or early depending on the month. Note that clan estate is basically a default amount of money that you get. In other titles it is also called the King's Purse. In a historical context for Japan, a clan estate is known as the Shizei Seido, which is defined as an hereditary system to classify clans and their influence. This is not to be confused by the clan estate building from the here present Rise of the Samurai expansion, which allows to recruit Shirabayoshi agents on the map. Depending on the era, the trade goods are going to change. Iron, Chinese text, incense, raw silk, crafts, and wood for Rise of the Samurai. War horses, raw silk, incense, crafts, stone, wood, iron, and cotton for the standard Shogun 2, and coal, iron, silk, copper, machines, cotton, and tea for Fall of the Samurai. There are extra resources that are specialized, but those are not going to be covered in this video tutorial. Also, there's a neat trick in taxation that has been shown in various videos all over. You can constantly increase each turn the taxes and decrease them for the next one. Thus, you got to be careful not to let more than one turn with high taxes if you don't want the peasants to burn your carefully crafted clan dominion, so be careful. You ever wonder about the term koku in Shogun 2? Koku is a Chinese-based unit of value used in the feudal Japan. It was equivalent to 330 pounds of rice. Clan technologies, showing either a silhouette of a factory in the industrial world of Fall of the Samurai or a brush and a katana for Rise and Shogun 2. Technology trees are different from each era and will not be covered in this video, but to scratch the surface, this is where you boost your clan's traits and become more powerful by buffing your units. The diplomatic button, a noble wearing a kariginu, a red silk robe with a peaked cap known as the tate eboshi, opens the diplomatic negotiations window. In here you interact with other clans and also forms an integral part of the Shogun 2 mechanics that can determine the success or your defeat in the games of power. Let's say you want to pass through a province to get to another province. You can achieve this by asking for military access, and if all else fails, it is where you declare war. All the miniature armies have around them a red region that is the zone of control. No other enemy will be able to pass or enter this red zone of control without triggering a tactical battle. In Total War, your figurines have action points. In Shogun 2, action points is represented with the yellow area of movement. You cannot pass this point in the same turn. Passing this limit will create more arrows, and the farther the distance, the more arrows will appear, showing us how many turns have to pass depending on each color change that we see. If you have done everything you want to do, then it is time to change or end the turn. Now, it is time to talk about maneuvers and the aspect of tactics. If a tactical battle triggers, you will be transported to the battlefield. In here, you have to understand the time period you are in, or the lore in the case of Warhammer titles, in order to have a decent experience. You should know what are the troops, what is the best deployment in relation with the other units, and how you are supposed to deal with your enemy. This takes time and effort to understand, but the most important thing is to know that the cards in the down part of the screen are the way you select the units. Then you must issue an order by right-clicking. You either shoot or attack the opposite unit. And also you have to locate your most important one, the general. Buffs and orders are also possible in this phase. In ancient times, most of the troops are separated in infantry, missile and cavalry. You will find a plethora of different author types depending on the title and the era itself. Okay, now I see the units. How to move them, select them and issue an order. You can group and issue a group order in which all the units will move maintaining the same formation. Unit stats are the backbone of the cards, and knowing which unit is better than the other is king. Morale, in the other hand, is queen. The next part to discuss is the daimyo or clan window. In here we see a picture of the faction's leader and plenty of other information. The daimyo is the lord title that Shogun II uses to name the leader. In a historical context, the daimyo is a feudal lord, the owner of land that has both influence over military and political affairs. The title was abolished during the Meiji era, and it was changed to the Kuzoku system at the time of the reformations of the government during the revolution. The Kuzoku system was modeled after the British Western model or British peerage. The feudal lords, the daimyos, and the nobles, the kuge, were merged into a single system which lasted up to 1947, in which afterwards was prohibited any form of aristocracy after the defeat of the Empire of Japan during the World War II. However, Kazoku still forms the upper class of Japan in some other cases. Fame and rank also play a great deal of importance under the Shogun II mechanics. This rank system eventually provokes the realm divide mechanics event that makes Shogun II so special. For example, in Fall of the Samurai produces an event that will force upon you a dilemma. Either fight for the Meiji Emperor or assume personal control and create a total war between all remaining clans. One of the most challenging aspects of this title and the one that makes it unique. Victory conditions. Here is a list of must-have provinces and other criteria that have to be met in order to trigger the victory of the campaign. Family Council represents the beloved family tree that we all like and love. We also have a special button that allows to change sides in between Emperor and Shogun. This is effective in Fall of the Samurai. In Shogun II, it allows us to change religion. If your leader happens to have any children, all of those are going to be listed here and any other general down here. Agents are named different depending on what era of Japan you are in. Shirabayoshi, Keisha in Standard Campaign, the enchantress and most important action of this agent, reduce loyalty of enemy generals and turn them against their lords. So in plain English, turn an enemy's general into your faction. The Junsatsushi Metsuke and also Ishinshishi, or if you are the shogunate, the Shinsengumi. This is in Fall of the Samurai. These are the constables or emissaries that will convert enemy armies into yours. Make sure the peasants don't rebel when you squeeze taxes from them. Also eliminate a rival agent from the board, in between others. In Fall of the Samurai, they will also change provinces' allegiance. Su monks, or the Iko-Iki, they will decrease morale for enemy stacks inside revolts. This is for the Sengoku Jidai campaign, and increase morale of own troops. Monomi, also called Shinobi in other expansions, will assassinate, scout the map to reveal the fog of war and sabotage the army replenishment, in between others. The Western foreign agent that is exclusive to Fall of the Samurai that will increase the rank of your units just by sitting there and explaining them how to pull the trigger. Thank you very much for sticking with me up to the end. Hopefully this video tutorial solved most of your starting issues that you may get being a newcomer to Total War. If this video was of use and you forgot to subscribe up to this moment, this is the time to do so. If you are a veteran Total War fan and you liked it, let me know in the comments. This was Victus. See you in the next one.